Hello students, good morning. Today we are going to start the chapter Should Visit It Mommy. Okay, should visit it mommy, as there is a question mark in the title. Should visit it mommy. So this chapter raises a question whether visit should hit mommy or not. So the theme of the chapter is, you can say, generation gap. As it's given, here is a story about the worldwide of a little child and the difficult moral question she raises during the story session with her father. So there is a story session between the father and the daughter, and during this story session the little child, she asks a question, and this question makes the father very disturbed, because he thinks that parents are the best judges for their children. Whatever the parents think, that is the best decision for the children. But children, on the other hand, they have their own attitude, they have their own mindset, they have their own decisions, and they think that whatever the parents think, it's not necessary that that is the correct decision for them. So this leaves Jack, the father, in a very middle position. He thinks himself as a father and as a son. Okay, so we'll start the story. We'll take the story in two parts. Half of the story will complete in the first part, and the rest of the story will be continued in the second part. Okay, in the evenings and for Saturday naps like today's, Jack told his daughter Jo, so the father is Jack and the daughter's name is Jo, a story out of his head. This custom began when she was 2, when the daughter was 2 years old, and the father had started telling the stories to his daughter. Was itself now nearly 2 years old. Okay, so it means now the daughter is 4 years old, and his head felt empty. Each new story was a slight variation of a basic tale. There used to be a basic tale, there used to be a very simple outline of the story daily. A small creature, usually named Roger. Daily in his story there used to be a creature, an animal, whose name used to be Roger. Sometimes it used to be Roger fish, sometimes it used to be a squirrel, chipmunk, or any other animal. And that animal had some problem and went with it to the wise old owl. That animal, Roger, maybe Roger fish, maybe Roger squirrel, chipmunk, or any other animal, that animal used to have some problem, and to solve this problem he used to go to the wise old owl. The owl told him to go to the wizard, and the wizard performed a magic spell that solved the problem, demanding in payment a number of pennies greater than the number that Roger creature had, but in the same breath directing the animal to a place where the extra pennies could be found. So he used to demand, the wizard used to solve the problem, and he used to demand some pennies, some money for it. The animal did not have that money. Then he used to direct him to a place where he could find the money. Then Roger was so happy, he played many games with other creatures and went home to his mother just in time to hear the train whistle that brought his daddy home from Boston. So this was the story which the father used to tell, Jack, his father used to tell to his daughter Jo. Okay, this was the basic story which the father used to tell to his daughter Jo every day. Is that clear? Okay. Jack described their supper and the story was over. This was the story. Okay. Working his way through this scheme was especially fatiguing on Saturday. On Saturday, the father used to feel very tired because Jo never fell asleep in naps anymore. This is a very important question. Okay, because Jo never fell asleep in naps. Naps means a short sleep. Okay, and knowing this made the ride seem futile. Futile means waste. So this whole ride, this whole process of telling the story used to be useless because the daughter would not sleep. So the father used to think what to do now. Okay, the little girl, not so little anymore, the bumps on her feet made under the covers were halfway down the bed, their big double bed that they let her be in for naps and when she was sick. had at last arranged herself, and from the way her fat face deep in the pillow shone in the sunlight sifting through the drawn shades, it did not seem fantastic that some magic would occur and she would take her nap like an infant of two. Her brother Bobby, her brother Bobby was two. He was 2 years old and already asleep with his bottle. Jack asked, "Who shall the story be about today?" So today now the daughter is not so small. She has become 4 years old, and today the story which the father is going to tell is like this. He starts like this. Roger. Joe squeezed her eyes shut and smiled to be thinking. She was thinking now today, what will be Roger? Which animal would be Roger? Her eyes opened. Her mother's blue. Skunk, she said firmly. So now today the animal which she has chosen was skunk. Skunk is an animal, children, you must have seen in movies. Sometimes in cartoon movies, this character is there, skunk. And the special thing about skunk is that skunks, they smell very bad. Okay, so their body give out a very bad smell, stinking smell. Okay, a new animal. They must talk about skunks at nursery school. Having a fresh hero momentarily stirred Jack to creative enthusiasm. All right, he said. Once upon a time, in the deep dark woods, there was a tiny little creature by the name of Roger Skunk, and he smelled very bad. Yes, Joe said. He smelled so bad that none of her other little woodland creatures would play with him. Joe looked at him solemnly. She hadn't foreseen this. Whenever he would go out to play, Jack continued with jest, remembering certain humiliations of his own childhood. He just remembers that in his childhood, when the other animals and the other children did not like to play with him, so how humiliated he felt. So all of the other tiny animals would cry, "Oh, here comes Roger, stinky skunk." So how did the other animals used to tease him? They used to tease him by saying, "Roger, stinky skunk," because he used to smell very bad. And they would run away, and Roger skunk would stand there all alone. All alone he used to cry, and the two little round tears would fall from his eyes. The corners of Joe's mouth drooped down and her lower lip bent forward as he traced with a forefinger along the side of her nose the course of one of Roger skunk's tears. Okay? Little Joe, she also felt very bad for the Roger skunk, because she also started crying because she feels herself connected with Roger skunk. "Won't he see the owl?" she asked in a high and faintly roughened voice. She already knew the story that the animal Roger skunk will go to the wise owl, and the owl will send him to the wizard, and the wizard will solve his problem. She already knew the story. Okay? Sitting on the bed beside her, Jack felt the covers tug as her legs swished tensely. He was pleased with this moment. He was telling her something true, something she must know, and had no wish to hurry on. But downstairs a chair scraped, and he realized he must get down to help Claire. Claire was his wife. Okay? Paint the living room woodworks. In the room below, she was doing some woodwork. Well, he walked along very sadly and came to a very big tree, and in the tip top of the tree was an enormous, wise, old owl. So he continued his story. "Good, Mr. Owl," Roger Skunk said. "All the other little creatures run away from me because I smell so bad." "So you do," the owl said. "Very, very bad. What can I do?" Roger Skunk said, and he cried very hard. The wizard," Joe shouted. Now the Joe knew. She knew the story that now the old wise owl will send him to the wizard. So she said, the wizard," and sat right up, and a little golden book spilled from the bed. "Now, Joe, Daddy is telling the story. Do you want to tell Daddy the story?" So now the daddy got annoyed. He said, "Daddy is telling the story to you, or you are telling a story to Daddy?" Because she knew the story, so that is why she is interrupting. "No, me. You are telling a story to me." "Then lie down and be sleepy." Her head relapsed onto the pillow, and she said, "Out of your head." Well, the owl thought and thought. At last he said, "Why don't you go to the wizard?" Daddy, what? Are magic spells real? Again, a very important question. This was a new phase. Just this last month, a reality phase. What was the reality phase? It's a very important question which comes in both. What was the reality phase? So, reality phase was that the daughter Jo, she has started asking questions whether magic spells are real. Okay? When he told her spiders eat bugs, she turned to her mother and asked, do they really? And when Claire told her God was in the sky and all around them, she turned to her father and insisted with a sly yet eagle smile, is he really? So now these are the questions she is asking. Okay, so this was the reality. She is entering into the world of reality. She is growing up, and now she is trying to understand the real things. She no longer believes in the magics. Okay, they are real in stories, Jack answered curtly. She had made him miss a beat in the narrative. The owl said, go through the dark woods under the apple trees. She into the swamp over the creek. What is a creek? Sorry, they are real in stories, Jack answered curtly. She had made him miss a beat in the narrative. The owl said, go through the dark woods under the apple trees into the swamp over the creek. What is a creek? A little river. Over the creek there will be the wizard's house. So the wizard's house is situated over the creek, over the little river. And that's the way Roger Skunk went. And pretty soon he came to a little white house, and he rapped on the door. Jack rapped on the window sill, and under the covers Joe's tall figure clenched in an infantile thrill. And then a tiny little old man came out, and with a long white beard and a pointed blue hat, you can see this wizard, and said, Watcher, what? You smell awful, very bad. The wizard's voice was one of the Jack's own favorite effects. He did it by scrunching up his face and somehow winning through his eyes, which felt for the interval roomy. He felt being an old man suited him. Okay, she was making faces. Okay, I know it, Roger Skunk said, and all the little animals run away from me. The enormous wise owl said, you could help me. Well, maybe. Come on in. Don't get too close. Now inside. Joe, there were all these magic things, all jumbled together in a big dusty heap, because the wizard did not have any cleaning lady. Okay? Why? Because he was a wizard and a very old man. Will he die? Again, she's asking a question. No, wizards don't die, the father said. Well, he rummaged around and found an old stick called a magic wand and asked Roger Skunk what he wanted to smell like. Roger thought and said, roses. Yes, good, Joe said smugly. Jack fixed her with a trance-like gaze and chanted in the wizard's elderly, irritable voice. And he started chanting, he started singing, abracadabra, hocus poo, Roger Skunk, how do you do? Roses, roses, pull on here, Roger Skunk, you never fear, bingo. Okay, so he's doing his magic spell. He paused, a rapt expression widened out from his daughter's nostrils, forcing her eyebrows up and her lower lip down in a wide, noiseless grin. So these are the facial expressions of the daughter. An expression in which Jack was startled to recognize his wife feigning pleasure at cocktail parties, and all of a sudden he whispered. The whole inside of the wizard's house was full of the smell of roses, roses, Roger Fish cried. And the wizard said, very cranky, that will be 7 pennies. So he is demanding 7 pennies. Daddy? What? Roger Skunk? You said Roger Fish. So here the father said Roger Fish because he just forgot that he was telling about Roger Skunk. Yes, Skunk. You said Roger Fish. Wasn't that silly? Very silly of you, stupid old daddy. Where was I? Well, you know about the pennies. Say it. Okay, Roger Skunk said. But all I have is 4 pennies. And he began to cry. Joe made the crying face again, but this time with a trace of sincerity. This annoyed Jack. Downstairs, some more furniture rumbled. Claire shouldn't move heavy things. She was 6 months pregnant. It would be their third child, because Joe was there and his and her little brother was there. So the wizard said, "Oh, very well, go to the end of the lane and turn around 3 times and look down the magic well." Because now the wizard sent him to the magic well, and there you will find 3 pennies. Hurry up. So Roger Skunk went to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times, and there in the magic well were 3 pennies. So he took them back to the wizard and was very happy and ran out into the woods, and all the other little animals gathered around him because he smelled so good. Now he started smelling of roses, and the other animals became very happy to play with him, and they played tag, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, hockey, soccer, and pick up sticks. What is a pick up sticks? The daughter asked. It's a game you play with sticks, like the wizard's magic wand, kind of. And they played games and laughed all afternoon. And then it began to get dark, and they all ran home to their mommies. All the animals, they went back. Joe was starting to fuss with her hands and look out of the window at the crack of day that showed under the shade. She thought the story was all over. Jack didn't like women when they took anything for granted. He liked them. Apprehensive, hanging on his words. Now, Joe, are you listening? Yes, because this is very interesting. Now, the daughter, Joe, she thought that the story was over. But actually, Jack is going to end the story in some other way. What is the ending of the story? She asks, Joe, are you listening? The father asked. His daughter says yes. Because this is very interesting. Roger Skunk's mommy said, "What's that awful smell?" What? And Roger Skunk said, "It's me, mommy. I smell like roses." And she said, "Who made you smell like this?" The mother got very angry. And he said, "The wizard." And she said, "Well, off all the nerve, you come with me and we are going right back to the very awful wizard." She said, "Now we'll go to that wizard. I don't like you having changed your smell." Joe sat up, her hands dabbling in the air with genuine fright. "But Daddy," then he said, "about the other little animals run away." Her hands skittered off into the bush. "All right," he said, "but Mommy, all the I don't care. You smell the way a little skunk should have, and I'm going to take you right back to that wizard." And she took an umbrella and went back with Roger Skunk and hit that wizard right over his head. "No," Joe said, and put her hand out to touch his lips. Yet, even in her agitation, did not quite dare to stop the source of truth. Okay? Okay. "No," he said. The wizard said, "Okay," said Roger Skunk. "Did not smell of roses anymore. He smelled very bad again." Okay. Now again the mother, she got annoyed and she went to the wizard, hit him on his head, and again she just said that give him his smell back. But the other little animal, "Oh, Johnny, it's Daddy's story. Shall Daddy not tell you any more stories?" She's interrupting. So the daddy got annoyed. He said, "Daddy is telling a story to you." Her broad face looked at him through sifted light, astounded. "This is what happened then. Roger Skunk and his mommy went home, and they heard woo 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 woo, and it was choo choo train bringing Daddy Skunk from Boston, and they said lima beans, celery liver, mashed potatoes. They had their dinner. They pie my for dessert. And when Roger Skunk was in bed, Mommy Skunk came up and hugged him and said he smelled like her little baby skunk again, and she loved him very much." And that's the end of the story. Now the mother became very happy because her son Roger Skunk started smelling like their original smell. But daddy, she asked, "What then? Did the other little animals run away?" "No, because eventually they got used to the way he was and did not mind at all." So the Jack says, the father says that no, the other animals did not run away. They got used to, they got habitual of it. Okay, what's eventually in a little while? That was a stupid mommy. It was not. he said with rare emphasis, and believed from her expression that she realized he was defending his own mother to her, or something as odd. Now here he is reminding of his own mother. He is defending his own mother because he is taking side of his own mother, okay, or something as odd. Now I want you to put your big heavy head in the pillow and have a good long nap. He adjusted the shade so that even a crack of day showed, and tiptoed to the door in the pretense that she was already asleep. But when she turned, she was crouching on top of the covers and staring at him. She didn't sleep. She said, "Hey, get under the covers and fall fast asleep. Bobby's asleep." She stood up and bounced gingerly on the springs. "Daddy, what?" "Tomorrow I want you to tell me the story that the wizard took that magic wand and hit that mommy." Her plump arms chopped forcefully right over the head. "No, that's not the story. The point is that the little skunk loved his mommy more than he loved all other little animals, and she knew what was right. Now the daughter Joe wanted the story to end some other way. No, tomorrow you say he hit that mommy. The wizard will go to the mommy, hit her, do it." She kicked her legs up and sat down on the bed with a great heave and complaint of springs, as she had done 100 of times before, except that this time she did not laugh. Say it, she is very serious. She did not laugh, which means she was very serious here. She wanted to put her own point of view. She wanted to say that if Roger skunk smells very bad, and if he's got the very good smell, so what's wrong in it? Okay, so she's putting forward her own decision, her own point of view. "Well, we'll see. Now at least have a rest. Stay on the bed. You are a good girl." He closed the door and went downstairs. Claire had spread the newspapers and opened the paint can, and wearing an old shirt of his on top of her maternity smock, was stroking the chair rail with a dipped brush. Above him, footsteps vibrated, and he called Joan. "Shall I come up there and spank you?" The footsteps hesitated. "That was a long story," Claire said. "The poor kid," he answered, and with utter weariness watched his wife labor. The woodwork, the cage of mouldings and rails and baseboards all around them, all the furniture and all the things were there, was half old tan and half new ivory, and he felt caught in an ugly middle position. Ugly middle position as a father and as a son, because he referred to his mother. So as a son he is thinking, and as a father he is thinking. So he caught himself in an ugly middle position, and though he was as well felt his wife's presence in the case with him, and he did not want to speak with her, work with her, touch her, anything. So he felt as if along with his wife, he has caught himself into a case, because now the children, his daughter, she has started putting forward her own point of view, and she is trying to justify it, that whatever she thinks, that is correct. Okay, so this chapter leaves a question mark whether whatever the daughter said, whatever Joe said, that should wizard hit mommy, should wizard go to the mommy, hit her, and give Roger skunk the smell of roses back. So this is a question mark whether the children are correct or the parents are correct in their decisions. But the point is that this is always the generation gap. The parents, whatever the parents think, they are also correct. Whatever sometimes the children think, they are also correct. Okay, that's the end of the